to make a quick video on how dialysis tubing works and osmosis and whatnot. So this stuff is called dialysis tubing, and it's all crunchy like this. So what I'm going to do is take some of it and cut it into chunks that are 4 or 5 inches long, like this, and put it in water and soak them for a little while. So I'll get back to you in half an hour or so. Okay, so the dialysis tubing is pretty close to hydrated enough, and it is tubing. It didn't seem like it at first, but there's a hole that's going through there like that. And so I'm going to make this into a fake cell, a surrogate for an actual cell. So I'll just take a little bit of string and then make it more or less waterproof here, twist it, fold it. This end is tied. Open up the other end. Open up the other end, take a pipette, and I think I'm going to use just sugar this time. Use some sugar solution in water and put it in the fake cell. Squirt it in there. And I'm going to tie off this end, just like I did the other one. Kind of twist it and fold it, check our weights. So what we have here is a fake cell. It has a membrane, and that membrane has holes in it, just like this. So you can see the holes there. Well, the holes are much smaller here, but what we want to do is figure out how big are those holes. Are they bigger or smaller than a sugar molecule? And how can we tell if we can't see the molecules moving in and out? And we're going to weigh this thing before and after the experiment. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with starch. I got a brand new pipette, it's all nice and clean. Put it in my pipette bore and suck up some of this starch solution, polysaccharide, in water, about the same amount. It doesn't matter, we're going to go by percentage of change, and I'm going to squirt the starch solution into my fake cell. Okay, so I have my 2 cells, and I'm going to write on here the glucose and the starch. And this is before, and this is after. Right. So I'll take the starch bag first, weigh it, and it is 10.82. 10.82 grams. And the glucose, oops, I put it on the top, 10.82 on the starch. And the glucose cell is 11.28. 11.28 grams. And I put the starch bag in here, and the glucose bag in here. Keep track of them overnight. That's the starch. Here's the starch. Here's the glucose. And we'll come back tomorrow, dry them off, and weigh them and see which ones got heavier or lighter or what happened to them. What we're going to do now is we're going to do one more test to see what's going on here. Urine reagent strips, and so people that have diabetes often have glucose in their urine, so we just buy these strips and we use it here. So take a strip, a urine strip for glucose, looks like this, it's nice and green, and I dipped it in the solution with glucose just to see what it's like, and I got this result, which according to the bottle means that, yeah, there's quite a lot of glucose in that solution. And then this is a strip that I put into the starch solution, and it started and ended about the same. So there's basically no glucose in the starch solution. And then this is distilled water, and I put the tabs in, put one of the strips in there too, and that didn't change either. So that's the test for glucose. Now we're going to do a test for starch. And so this is iodine, and iodine should turn starch like a bluish color. So here I've got a sample of glucose solution, and I pour this in there, and it's, you know, kind of the same color except for diluted out. So that indicates no starch. So here's solution with starch in it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some dark blue, and there it is. So that's a test for starch. And then this is water, And I hope there's no starch in there. And pour in the water, and yep. First, let's test. Let's use the strip for glucose. Iodine solution. And we'll pour some iodine in here to see if there's starch in the glucose bag. Doesn't look like it. Let's pour some iodine in here, see if there's any. Okay, it's been a couple minutes, and I'm seeing for the starch test results, I don't see any blueness there anywhere. Starch test here, nothing. I do see that the glucose test around the starch cell, that's still a negative. And there's a little bit of glucose that is leaking out of this bag over here. And a lovely good morning to all you guys. So let's see what happened overnight. Look in the starch bag, and I can see it's all blue. So I put a little bit of the starch iodine solution outside of this, and evidently the iodine was able to leak through the holes in the membrane here and turn the starch inside the bag black. The next thing is, let's see what happened to the weight. So it started at 10.82, went up to 11.03, evidently water was leaking into the bag. I presume it's going to be more than 11.03. Let's see. Oops. It's 11.00. So, it weighed a little bit less, which is curious. I think what might be happening is, if you look right here, I think there's indications that this is leaking. Gosh, that's unfortunate. That's odd. It should have weighed a little bit more because the starch in here should be bringing water into it. Okay, but definitely it does show that there is starch inside, the polysaccharide starch inside, and the iodine is being through the hole. I also tested right here. I tested for glucose just in case to see if maybe there was an enzyme in there that was breaking down the starch, and that's a pretty much negative test. So no glucose. Let's take a look over here at the glucose bag. So as you recall, the bag is filled with the glucose solution, distilled water outside. The weight went from 11.28 up to 11.89 yesterday, so it went up quite a bit. That means water was coming into the bag, being sucked into the bag by osmotic forces. And so we need to weigh this. Presumably this one's going to weigh a little bit more now too. I'll try to use the same technique. And 12.41. Yeah, good. That's predicted. 12.41 grams. So it went up by quite a bit. It went up by over a gram. So that's approaching 10% heavier than it was yesterday when we began. One other thing about this is, if you look at the glucose strip, and that's positive again. And what that means is that glucose is leaking out of the bag, out of the fake cell, into the solution right here. So that's a definite positive step for that. Okay, so that's our data. Bye.